Apparently, a Disney investor is saying that the former CEO was ever woke and ever incompetent. I don't understand why the investor had to repeat himself, because those words are synonyms. Think about it, like a person who's legitimately competent, who can actually do stuff, why would they be woke? Like, the only time a person is woke is when they need the masses to support them. It's like they need the group, they need the hive mind. And you need to be such a dishonest person to be woke, right? Because it's a set of political ideas and things that you have to agree with 100%. Because if you agree only 99.9% like J.K. Rowling, that you're out. So you have to lie to yourself all the time. You have to lie to other people. This is why when you have a production which is woke, it's going to end up failing. Not necessarily because of the message. But think about like Rings of Power plus Privilege. There is a scene where Galadriel jumps off from the boat and she swims all the way across the ocean. And when she jumps off from the boat, she's wearing her nightgown. Like she's having like her pajamas. And then when she reaches shore, she's in her plate armor. Like, why did that happen? It's because like those people are incompetent. They don't really care about their job. They don't care about what they're doing. And they're being promoted via nepotism. They're being promoted based on how they speak, not what they can do. So, yeah, almost every single woke person is incompetent. But not only that, the previous CEO, which, by the way, he's not the one that got wokeness into Disney. The actual CEO is the one that got wokeness into Disney. But like, at least the actual CEO, whenever a movie went bad, whenever he didn't get enough butts in seats, he can say, oh, well, you know, it's because of the misogyny, or well, you know, maybe the movie wasn't that good. Like, there were other movies that came out in the same week as it. The previous CEO cannot deflect from the accusations that his woke incompetence actually done huge damage to the company. Because he went against the Florida legislator. Like, no other woke company did this besides Disney. Like, you have the Florida legislator passing the Don't Say Gay bill or whatever, right? And he has a company, instead of shutting the fuck up and just putting out entertainment, he allows the company, the people speaking for the company, going like, oh, we're going to invest every resource we have in order to fuck with the Florida legislator. And guess what happened? The Florida legislator fucked with Disney. Turns out they had a lot of privileges in Florida. All of them revoked. Now they got equality. Now they're like any other company. They don't like that shit. I remember when the Democrats were crying because this trillion-dollar corporation is now being forced to be equal. Horrible. I know, but it was something to remember. And then they also said that they have a gay agenda. You know, like if you were to go back to the Bush era, when you had like all those people, it's like, oh, the gay agenda. They would be like, oh, that's what we're talking about, just pointing at Disney and their statement, right? So like, this legitimately alienated fans, like their wokeness, it got movies being canceled in other places of the world, like Middle East, China. Like all of this nonsense caused them to lose money. And as I predicted at the beginning of the year, because we are in a recession, because times are tough, corporations cannot put up with this shit anymore. Like, when the gravy train is flowing and you have a lot of money, then yeah, sure, you know, they're going to be able to put up with a couple of incompetent people. But I do think that this is a message, right? Because at the end of the day, it's not necessarily the CEO that is the one to blame. It's usually the people in the company, the HR, you know, the spokesperson, the marketing. Like, as we saw with Twitter, like even with Jack Dorsey being a little bit more free speech, it's like the Vijayas and the other people at the Trust and Safety Councils, that, you know, like those are the problem. So just changing the CEO isn't going to change anything unless you start firing people en masse. And Disney obviously isn't going to do it, so I don't think like we're going to see much of a change here. But still, you know, it is a message. It's like, hey, you know, can you start producing some wealth? Can you actually start making money rather than making propaganda? So as you can see, it's just many high-profile shareholders, so it's not just one person, at the Walt Disney Company, had grown frustrated over the past year with Bob Chapek's management of the company. Eventually, the temperature reached a maximum boiling point, leading to a revolt against him, and forcing the Disney's board of directors to remove him and replace him with his predecessor. Throughout Chapek's short tenure as CEO at Disney, Politics and controversial decisions helped make it a divisive figure on both the right and the left outside the company. In addition to his dislike externally, it had been reported for months that cast members throughout many of the creative departments of Disney had grown impatient with cost-cutting measures and had kept their heads tied. And this is another thing that woke people do. You know, like they infiltrate the company. They start pushing their message. They start pushing their bullshit. The company stops making money, and then they complain about cost-cutting measures. They complain that the gravy train is stopping. Like, they literally don't understand that when they're at the company, they need to produce wealth in order to get paid. But, like, the mind of a woke person seems to be that the company is, like, literally printing cash, that a company is just generating wealth by default. I mean, it's so astonishing. You look at Twitter and Washington Post. Today, they ended up firing people. And they're like, oh, why are we getting fired? Why are these costs? It's insane. Like, these people just don't understand that, like, when you're at a company, you need to start producing wealth to justify your existence. But, as we saw on Twitter, there were, like, 4 people supervising for every single person coding. So, well, apparently this may also be a problem at Disney. Let me know what you guys think, though. And as usual, I will see you in the comment section. Take care.